I used to, when I was a kid, had a predilection for going to the used library book sales where I would get paperbacks for a quarter or a dime and come back home with a whole grocery store bag full of paperbacks and such. And at one point, when I was about 12 or 13, I managed to get a copy of the Gulag Archipelago buried in a whole pile of sci-fi paperbacks. And that just kind of blew my mind and set the stage for me in a lot of ways. And when I was reading it the first time, I didn't really register it wasn't a novel because it was just sort of in a pile of novels and I'm reading this, and Solzhenitsyn was a novelist, so it kind of reads like a novel in a lot of ways. But that sort of started my interest in Russia and everything to do with Russia. And then when I went to college, I got a bachelor's degree, a double major in engineering and in history, in Russian history in particular. And then worked as a programmer for a number of years, and then went back to grad school in political science in order to be a Russianist. And then this just happened to be right at the time the color revolutions, and then the Arab Spring was happening. And then suddenly knowing how Russia worked and knowing how the internet and social media worked suddenly joined together as a very viable career path. So for instance, the LiveJournal data collection project that I have, the reason why that matters so much is that LiveJournal is pretty much used predominantly by Russians, and pretty much if you're a Russian blogger, you're on LiveJournal. So it's this wonderful sort of natural platform if you're a Russianist who cares about social media to collect. I've also done some smaller projects collecting data from VK, Vakontaktia, and there's a few people that have done some work on Odnoklassniki as well. And then in other parts of the world, I've had other projects also doing a little bit with Facebook data, and then hit or miss on similar setups to how LiveJournal is so important exclusively for Russia. Like for instance, in a South Korean project that I had, we collected a whole bunch of data from a thing called Naver blogs, which is basically their equivalent of LiveJournal. Only Koreans use it. Nobody outside of Korea does.